again. So we are starting our new book, Get Over Your Damn Self. And we're really excited about this book to get started. And Jenny is going to read for us today.
All right. So she says, let's get this party started. If I had my way, you and I would get to have a weekly coffee date so I could tell you all I've learned over the last 6 years. We'd get to know each other. We'd talk about our husbands, our kids, our challenges and fears. We'd talk about our businesses and our lives. It's my favorite part of this gig. I'd learn about you and you'd learn about me. We'd get to help each other grow, not just as business owners, but as women. That's the first thing I highlighted. Just want you to know that. Unfortunately, that's just not possible. When I started out in this business, I loved being able to touch every new person on our team, whether in person or virtually. But as my team started to grow into what are now tens of thousands of business partners in multiple countries, I haven't been able to touch or mentor all of our team members, let alone all the people who've reached out to me from around our company and the profession. This book is the next best thing to us being able to get together. I've reviewed all that I've learned and all my experiences, good and bad, and put it all together to help you learn how to talk your way to the life you really want. First, let's talk about you. You may have just started your business a few weeks or months ago, or perhaps you've been around the profession longer. Either way, the minute you opened this book, you started a new level of commitment, focus, fun, I hope, and personal and professional growth. Maybe you're a working mom who's trying to build an exit strategy from a job that has you juggling work and kids, and you feel like you're failing miserably. Perhaps you used to be a professional powerhouse who set aside your career because you couldn't figure out how to be a working hands-on mom. But now you're ready to have an identity outside of mom and wife and to make your own money. Or maybe you're just a super savvy woman who understands how brilliant it is to develop another stream of income that can grow while you sleep. No matter what your background or your reason why you're a part of this profession, I think you'll get a lot out of our time together. I've helped thousands of women just like you build everything from travel and college funds to replacement incomes that allowed them and or their husbands to retire from their day jobs and finally have freedom and security they didn't think was possible. Now I'm going to help you get to where you want to be. I wrote this book to help you create the kind of business your team will want to emulate and the duplication that you need to create to get you where you want to go, not just in this profession, but in life. I hope that throughout these pages, you'll experience a powerful increase in your confidence and a greater understanding of how to be the leader you want on your team. Everyone has the potential to grow the business of their dreams, and you do too. You can be a successful CEO of your business while creating and living the life you really want. I'm going to teach you the skills and strategies you need to build a lucrative network marketing business, or direct sales business, or social marketing business, or a community commerce business. Whatever you want to call this profession you're now a part of, will work on your understanding of the basics and how to do the necessary income producing activities more efficiently. But if that's all there was to this biz, there would be a hell of a lot more seven-figure success stories. It takes more than skills to advance in title and grow a large organization. It also requires an understanding and awareness of the mindset and behaviors you need to reach your big goals. This business is built between the ears, so I'm going to mess with your head a bit. Building a successful network marketing business isn't just about developing your business, it's about developing you. Ask any of the top leaders around the profession, and they'll tell you that this inner work is even more important to get to the big bucks and time freedom. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about social media because entire books can and have been written about that. I also don't cover events, since I trust your company and your upline have a successful way to execute events that are specific to your company and your products. What I do share with you is everything I know about having the most authentic and effective conversations with people, those you know and those you meet, and how to reframe the most important conversations you'll ever have, the ones you have with yourself. Since you're going to let me mess with your head, you should know a little about me. I'm probably not a lot different than you. I'm a mom of two beautiful kids, Nate and Bibi, and wife to the love of my life, John. I was a corporate chick, first a lawyer, which I completely hated, then an award-winning public relations executive in both New York and Seattle. I married a doctor. My Jewish mother was very proud. And John had a thriving practice. Despite being a two-professional household, we were getting by, but not getting ahead. College and retirement funds weren't getting filled. We didn't have the time and freedom to put our kids first, and we were both tied to the fee-for-service model. We were at the beck and call of our clients and patients, and if we didn't work, we didn't get paid. After 12 years of doing just about every type of PR work out there, I was bored out of my mind. I wanted a new adventure. I wanted to stop hitting my head against an earnings glass ceiling. I wanted a richer life, more money, but complete time flexibility for my family and for me, and the ability to have a positive impact on others. It's pretty amazing what the universe brings to you when you ask for it. I learned about my company from a new PR client of mine at the time. I immediately fell in love with the idea of joining an established global brand that had moved into direct sales and being able to build a business out of my very own without having to build an infrastructure. John and I both agreed I had to do this. When I started, I had an insanely full plate. Nate was 3, BB was 6 months old. I had a thriving PR consultancy and had taken on way too many clients. I was sitting on nonprofit boards, teaching Hebrew school, helping John out with aspects of his medical practice and his dietary supplement startup. I was routinely helping my elderly mom, and I was trying to lose baby weight. But because I simply couldn't pass this up, I decided to get a bigger plate. I was coachable and consistent and added at least 3 to 5 new business partners and a handful of customers every month. In my first year, I was named my company's top recruiter, and I had built a 6-figure income. Less than 2.5 years into my business, John was able to walk away from his clinical practice, focus all his professional efforts on his startup, and be more of a hands-on dad. In less than 3 years, less time than it took me to get through law school, I had earned $1 million. 4 years in, John's supplement company was requiring little of his time, and he considered going back into clinical practice. Luckily for me and our team, he ultimately decided that he would have the greatest impact on people by working alongside me, so he jumped in too. Excuse me. Now with a 6-figure monthly income, we earn much more than we could in medicine or corporate America. But more valuable than the money is the ability to have the complete flexibility over all aspects of our lives, putting Nate and BB first and allowing us to pay our success forward in causes dear to our heart. We've both fallen in love with this business model. To be successful, it requires that we help others succeed and help them build the businesses and lives of their dreams. Through this gift of a profession, we've found renewed purpose and a deep sense of professional satisfaction. John and I are most proud of our tens of thousands of team members who dare to believe that it's possible to have their cake and eat it too. These fun, visionary dreamers have become like family, and we can't imagine life without them or this profession. I've included some of their stories in this book because there's so much to learn from them. So more than 6 years into this adventure, I knew it was time to share what I've learned. Because I'm a no BS kind of girl, I'm not going to sugarcoat a thing. This is a business, and if you're serious about learning exactly what it takes to build it big, you've come to the right place. But I'm going to ask you to get, as one of the top leaders on our team, Linda Lackey-Ray says, real and raw. You have to be willing to be honest with yourself and do the things I'm going to ask you to do. If you're brave enough, I promise it'll be worth it. Speaking of brave enough, although I have a journalism degree and have written a lot in my career, this is my first book. Honestly, writing it scared the shit out of me. But as I'm going to teach you, and I promise to never ask you to do something I'm not willing to do, life begins at the edge of and keeps expanding outside of our comfort zone. So here we go. I hope you realize how insanely lucky you are to be in this profession. Those of us in network marketing get to decide what our lives look like and to help other people do the same. Travel, time with our kids, getting involved in causes near and dear to your heart, you're sitting on a business that can give you all of that. When I was standing in your shoes, I didn't quite understand where this was going to take me or my family. But I'm living proof that a 6-figure monthly income is possible and that it's possible for you too. That making enough money to allow your spouse to pursue exactly what he wants is possible. That designing your life around your kids is possible. And traveling to your bucket list is possible. Volunteering your time to causes and donating more money that you used to earn is possible. If you're not thinking that big, if you're not thinking about limitless possibilities, it's time for you to start. And I'm going to help you get there. Let's go. Excuse me. I just love her. I mean, and I hope her language doesn't offend anybody because she does have a little, but she's just so real. And so, it's a business. You can't just sit there and wait for somebody else to make you money. You're going to have to work for it yourself. So I like her.
I agree. I agree. That's what I like about the book too. I just feel like she's very relatable. So a couple things that I kind of noted in there was I love when she says she was coachable and consistent. And that is definitely one of the biggest things in this business. to be successful, you've got to be coachable. And what that means, in case you don't really fully grasp what that means, because it's not a term that's used that often, right? But it just means that you're open to the ideas. So when somebody says, hey, let's look at this, and let's work on your personal business, and they start kind of like working with you and critiquing you in a productive way, right? And you take that in, you don't get offended, you're just kind of like, okay, yeah, I think I might be able to do that. And then you work through on how you can implement these ideas in a way that is true to you, right? And so that's kind of what that means, because a lot of times, people, they don't uh well, I mean, think about it. Some people love reviews, right? They love getting reviewed by their boss, right? They walk into, they're like, tell me, give it to me, I want to know, I want to grow, right? And then other people are like, oh god, I have my review today, I don't know what's going to happen, and they're so stressed out, and their idea is just to hold their breath and get through it and then move forward, right? Not necessarily to take it in and say, okay, I hear what you're saying, yes, I can tweak these things, and I'm going to move forward from here, and that's kind of what that means. And so think about yourself, and it's okay if your knee jerk reaction is not a coachable reaction. Maybe you get defensive. And sometimes, and it comes and goes too, because yeah, there are times I totally get defensive when somebody starts critiquing, right? But then I have to like stop, and I have to actually think about what was said to me, and be like, well, is that true? Well, yeah, it might be a little bit true, because sometimes it's hard to see the forest through the trees. And so, and the other part of that is consistency, and consistency, hands down, will beat anything every time. Like it's the long game, right? And I remember a specific time in my business that everything just kind of opened up for me, right? And I remember it was just like, and I remember thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, like this just totally happened. Like it just happened overnight. Like I don't even know like where all these datings came from, where all these recruits came from. And then very quickly, Pam pointed out, she's like, Ellen, you've been working your business consistently for like 3 6 months. Like you've been making the calls, you've been putting in the work, you've been doing the parties, you've been following up, you've been doing and I'm just like, oh yeah, I did do those things. But when things start to open up, you kind of forget about all the work you put in because you're just so excited about everything that's happening, right? And so that consistency is so key. And the consistency in this business that is going to help make it so you get to a point where things kind of open up for you. It is making the phone calls, if you're a phone call person, doing the text messages, doing the messaging, following up with people, and being consistent, and every day doing something in your business or in your life to improve yourself. Those are two very key things, I think, that she says: coachable and consistency. So I want to ask you guys, so just really think about this in this next week. Are you coachable? And would you refer to what you do in your business as consistent? Because look at Becky, she's like, no. Like, and I love your honesty, because yeah, there are times that I'm not consistent, and I'm just like, hello, get with the program. You haven't done this, and this for a week. Like, and so just to kind of bring you back. And so it's important to kind of do those checkups on yourself on a weekly basis, so it doesn't go months. It stops at the week when you're just like, oh man, I really didn't focus this week, I had too much going on. Next week, I'm going to make sure whatever's happening, I bring my business into whatever's happening, right? And so it's important to do those checkups. And yeah, so that was like one of the biggest things. I mean, I highlighted other things too. Jenny, did you have anything else that you?
One of the things that I really like that she said, it just isn't about developing your business, it's about developing you. Because I
Yeah.
think that's something that we just don't do. I mean,
Right.
I know for years as a wife and a mother and working and everything else, I was last. And even after the kids grew up and I didn't have to worry about a lot of that other stuff, I still didn't put a lot of time into myself, because
Mhm.
after years of not doing it, it's just not something you think about first. So, okay, honestly, spending a week in the basement, I had some time to spend on myself.
You're a whole new person.
whole new person. But no, and like I think about the thing, you know, and you had talked about investing in yourself and doing some, and I had actually just stopped a monthly thing that I had because I wasn't using it. And I thought I'm not paying 20 or $25 a month for something that I don't even look at. And the very next day after I canceled the subscription, the very next day, Lynn Bardowski was like, and for $20 a month, you can, and I was like, oh, so I can
I
still
have
spend the
that
money. I just
$20.
needed to put it somewhere else. Yeah. I needed to put it somewhere that I can do now because the other thing just wasn't relevant to what I was trying to do.
Right.
And she is. And you know, that might just be for a season too, but okay, you know. So yeah, I think that developing ourselves is something that especially as women, we don't really think about immediately. And I think maybe younger women do, but okay, guys, women maybe my age, whatever that is, um, it wasn't anything that we did first. It was
Right.
kids and family and everything else. So I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And Gina wrote, what she wrote down was, I thought I needed, what did she say? I went away from it. She says, I wrote down, if you have a lot on your plate, get a bigger plate. Absolutely. And that is, and, and I do a lot of self-development. That is like one of my favorite things about this business because I don't feel like it's a guilty pleasure because it's serving my business. It's because me pouring into me is serving my business. And so I like doing things like that because I know it makes me a better human. It makes me a better mom and spouse and leader for everybody and just a better friend. And so, but I do remember a time when I was so overwhelmed with life and exhausted and couldn't even sleep at night because of all of that. And that actually is when I started doing that stuff. I started watching motivational things instead of Desperate Housewives. I started doing, like I started being very intentional with what was coming in. And actually, so what I was listening to this morning, what he talk about? He said that that pay attention to your input versus your output. And I was like, oh yeah, like because sometimes you go down this self-development rabbit hole, right? And you're taking all of it in, but you're not pushing it back out. You're not either sharing it or you're not implementing it in what you're doing. And I think that's so vitally important. Even with this, being, coming on every week, listening to the things. What is it? What's the one thing from this week that you're going to apply? What's the, maybe it is like at the end of every week, I'm going to look and give a real shine of real light on how much I actually work this week to see if I'm being consistent, right? And maybe it's going to be something else. Maybe it's, when we go over the chapter on the why, maybe that you're kind of finding your purpose. You're trying to figure that out, right? But I challenge you every week to figure out like what from this week are you going to apply or just take time to really dig into, right? And just and think about. So yeah, did somebody else say something? I just want to double check. I don't want to miss anything. I think all of us are trained to put ourselves last, whether we have kids or not. Yes, Diane, I definitely agree with that. Yeah. And growing up in a household where my mom literally put herself completely last. Now, as an like I say as an adult, she was an adult then. As an adult or adult, like, no, that's not right either. Anyways,
Different phase of life, different phase of life.
in this new chapter that she is in now, glad she's not going to see this.
Too bad I'm not recording it for her.
She puts herself first. She really does. I mean, she takes time to put her physical self first, her own like emotional needs, and going out and meeting people and seeing people and learning new things and traveling and doing those things. And so she does now. And I think she's trying to make up from last time because she did it growing up. She did everything. She didn't even ask us to like wash our own clothes, like, I mean, had some chores, but not what my kids do. I'll tell you that. I mean, it's just, but I think you're right. Diane. We are kind of like watching that growing up, but see, I watched that, and when I got married, I was like, yeah, it's not gonna be like and it was worth the fight for me. And she actually came to me like after we were married and said, because I finally was just like, I'm really frustrated. I feel like I'm doing everything and I need help. And she looked at me and I didn't know what her response would be. And she looked at me and she was like, you keep pushing. She's like, you keep fighting for that. That's the one thing I regret, that I didn't push your dad or ask him for more help around the house. And I was just like, really? I'm like, I thought you just left it that way. Like, I had no idea. Right. And so it's really important for us to invest in ourselves. Right. Even if it's like, listen, there's a really great show on Netflix. It's just like a 1 hour something thing, and it's called Call to Courage. I started watching it over the weekend with the kids because I just want to put something on the TV, and we were all just kind of sitting there, and I was like, maybe this has some good info. I put it on, and they were on their phones, but they kept kind of like looking up and then kind of laughing every now and again. So they were listening, but it was really good. And so you can find things like that on, that you're already paying for, right? You can find programs like that to fill yourself and just to take in and do things. So yes, investing in yourself, and you're doing it right now. So I'm really proud of all of you guys for being on, because this is probably the most we've ever had on our book club. Yeah, very impressive. All right. All right. Maybe it was Jenny's live. It was Jenny's live. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
her
that was
live. Yeah, that was it. It was Jenny's commercial for the book club. And they were like, if she's there, I'm going to be there because she makes me laugh. I need more of Jenny.
I'm starting my own YouTube channel. Just hang in there.
Oh, that would be fun. All right. Okay.
Hey,
So
I would
let's
watch that. Just
see.
saying.
Kidding, right?
My fear
I
is
would
that
make
so
sure
would
I
my
have
grandchildren.
notification for it.
It'll be there forever, Jenny.
I
It's
know.
family. You're like,
Is-
no.
Is this the legacy you want to leave?
You could be, it could be like Jenny's thoughts from the basement. That might be kind of weird.
Pam says the basement talk.
Basement talk. Oh my gosh. Good
Chapter
times.
one.
Chapter one.
We're moving on. Moving on.
All right, chapter one, Jenny.
Why people fail and why that ain't going to be you. Congratulations, you're the CEO of your own business. Granted, none of us need to do much of the heavy lifting that CEOs of traditional businesses do. We don't have to build an infrastructure, source raw materials, or manufacturers. We don't have to figure out our distribution channel or build out a technology platform or hire a marketing team or an HR department or any of the other gazillion things that go into building a traditional product or service company from the ground up. All we have to do is talk to people, share our love of the products and our company. If it's that easy, you may be asking, why the heck do I need this book? And why aren't more people in our profession 6 and 7-figure earners? Wait a minute, I didn't say anything about easy. This business, anything but easy. It's hard, really hard. It's going to test you in ways you never imagined. It will have tremendous highs and cavernous lows. It will require you to dig deep and learn resilience, to get so clear on who you are and what you stand for. It'll be a roller coaster that will sometimes have you thinking that you're going to fly off, and other times it will make you want to hurl. I told you, I'm a no BS kind of girl. If you want a sugar-coated version of this biz, you've come to the wrong place. The reality is that this business will test you just like every other worthwhile goal will. Want to run an Ironman? You better be prepared to train and train and train some more and sweat a lot. Want to raise well-adjusted, happy children? You better be prepared to be tested over and over and be willing to learn about your own shortcomings and be willing to stretch and grow and get some serious gray hair. Want to grow a 6 or 7-figure business? You really want to get there? Then you better be willing to dig in, stretch yourself, and work through good times and bad. No, this business isn't easy, but it is simple, laughably simple. We share about our business and our products, and the people we talk to fit into 3 buckets. The 3 buckets. The first bucket contains the people who want to become our customers. They order and fall in love with our products or services and keep reordering from us. They become walking, talking billboards and refer us business. Then there are others who see what we see from a business perspective and they join our teams. They fit into the second bucket. It may include people who get it right away and jump in, or it may be happy product customers when it finally dawns on them, even though we've already told them, that instead of referring people to someone else, they could actually be creating another stream of income for themselves and their families. So they convert to business builders and join our team. Anyone who comes on board learns this simplistic, duplicable system. I have the hardest time with that word. We teach them to do exactly what we do, talk to people and add customers and team members. There are others who aren't interested in our products or services or our businesses, and they fall into the third bucket. We ask them to connect us with people in their networks who just might be a great fit. They become referral sources. We keep doing this day after day, month after month, and after a few years of constantly showing up and doing the work, we have a thriving business that can do everything from fill vacation, college, and retirement funds to provide career exit strategies and build transformative wealth. That's our business. That's it. It only took 4 short paragraphs to spell it out. That's how simple it is. But again, you may be asking, if it's that simple, why the heck aren't there more 6 and 7-figure earners in our profession? That's the $1,000,000 question, and the one we'll answer in this book to help you unlock your greatest potential and create the business and life you dream of. 4 reasons why people fail. After 6 years in this gig, I've learned the 4 reasons why people fail. Reason 1, they're not coachable. We've already established that this is a simple system, laughably so. It's not rocket science, and anyone, regardless of background or professional or educational pedigree, can learn how to do it. But it requires us to be open to learning the simple system. If someone isn't seeing success, it's almost always because they're not following the system, either because they don't trust it or because they're arrogant enough to think they can do it faster, stronger, and better. I came to this profession with a law degree, a brief but successful stint as a lawyer, and an award-winning PR career. One could argue that I had professional chops and knew how to make shiz happen. But like so many who come into network marketing, I had 0 experience in this gig, and I knew I had to do everything possible to learn. I did what the successful members of my upline told me to do. I plugged into the resources of my company, and I became a student of the profession. I did exactly what I was coached to do. Once I learned the basics, I was able to add my own personality, flair, and experience to the mix, but not until I knew what the hell I was doing. Would I have walked into a deposition to interview a potential witness without first learning the procedure? Would I have written my first press release without first learning what needs to go into the release and how to construct it? Admittedly, my 10th deposition was a hell of a lot better than my first, and after 3 months of writing releases, I could practically do it in my sleep. But at the beginning, I learned the system, and this business is no different. Whether you're brand new to our profession or you've been plugging away for a while and your business isn't where you hoped it would be, make a commitment to be 100% coachable. So the action. Declare right now, wherever you are, even if you're on an airplane, in the chair at the salon with a bunch of foils on your head, or next to your sleeping hubby, I am 100% coachable. Ladies.
I am 100% coachable.
I am 100% coachable.
I can follow directions too.
Thank you. I was listening. Did you do it? Did you declare I am 100% coachable? If you did, then you've already sailed over your first success hurdle. You passed the first test. If you didn't declare it, and I don't want you to say it unless you really completely believe it, then don't read any further. Do not get off this call. Stop. Set this book down, or better yet, give it to someone who wants help, someone who is willing to be 100% coachable. Why is this coachable piece so important? If you're not coachable, you won't talk to enough people. I've seen this over and over too many times to count. So I know this to be an indisputable fact. It's as true as saying that your next bikini wax is going to hurt like hell. When I say you have to talk to people all the damn time, I'm not kidding. The uncoachables, as we like to call them, also refuse to implement proven business building tools to help them expose and close. Expose their network to what they're offering and move them through their funnel to a close. So if you're one of the uncoachables, again, please put this book down. It's not for you. But if you're coachable, keep reading. Being coachable is the first step, but that's only part of the story. It doesn't end when you learn the basics. Becoming a professional network marketer, turnkey entrepreneur, social marketer, direct sales professional, or whatever you want to call yourself, requires you to become a student of the profession, to embark on a never-ending quest to learn how to do what we do better. So buckle up, Buttercup, because this is a long, winding, wonderfully exciting ride of constant learning, growth, and evolution. Reason 2, sorry, they don't treat this like a business. You've likely heard this tried and true fact. If you treat your business like a hobby, it will pay you like a hobby. Guess what, guys? Hobbies cost money. But if you treat it like a real business, it can pay you like a business. I don't think people actually believe this is a get rich quick scheme or that it's going to fall from the sky into their laps. I just think that too many people start their businesses thinking that this out of the box business model doesn't require the same consistency and commitment as other businesses do. Give me an example of a CEO who has built a successful 6 or 7 figure company who didn't consistently show up to build it, and I'll send you a personal gift from me. Or show me an example of a person who got a job and only showed up when they felt like it and didn't get fired. Let's get real. It's called network marketing, not net slacker marketing. The beautiful thing is, in our profession, you don't have to devote 40 or 50 hours a week every single week to see big gains. But those part-time hours of income producing activities, IPAs, that we coach you to put in every week, we really mean you need to do them every week, even when you're tired, deflated, disappointed, frustrated, and ready to pull your hair out. To turn your venture into a successful business, you must make it a priority and carry your business with you wherever you go. If you owned a retail store instead of a virtual business, you'd go to the brick and mortar space and turn around the open sign and get to work. How can you expect to be open for business if you're not turning around the open sign in your brain and in your schedule? In this profession, every time your mouth is closed, your business is closed. In these pages, we'll talk a lot about how to spend your time. You should devote at least 80% of your time to your personal business, talking to people, finding those who want to be your customers and giving them the best possible service, finding those who want to join your team and training those newbies in the first 30 days of their business. We call this paying yourself first in order to keep growing. 10% should be devoted to 3-way calls for your team. I can't wait to teach you about the most powerful closing tool we've got. And 10% should be spent on your personal training, plugging into training calls or webinars, attending in-person training events, and the coaching of your non-newbie professional or business partners. For example, if you're devoting 15 hours a week to your business, at least 12 hours will go to your personal business, prospecting and training your newbies. 1.5 hours will go to 3-ways, and 1.5 hours will go to your personal training and coaching your non-newbies. You may be gasping here about spending so little on coaching others, but you'll learn later why this time allocation formula is so important to keep you growing and to help you avoid putting the brakes on or even crashing your business. Since our business can be blissfully flexible around life happening, we're able to maneuver around those hours as needed, but they must happen. If you miss your hour in the morning to smile and dial because your babysitter is sick, the dog just pooped on the carpet, and you've got to deal with a broken washer, that's okay. Just make up the hour in the day, later in the day, or the next day. Speaking of babysitters, it always makes me giggle when a stay-at-home mom of little ones who aren't in school yet thinks she can build a 6 or 7 figure business solely around her kid's hour-long nap each day. Yes, that hour can be wildly productive, and you should definitely capitalize on it. But we'll discuss later in this book, it's so much fun to make connections and fill your funnel while doing things with your kids in the normal course of the day. But it's unrealistic to think you won't need more uninterrupted time. So investing in a babysitter a few hours a week can make exponential difference in your long-term success. Remember, you are the CEO of your business. Tell me about a mom of littles who became a successful CEO of a startup, no less, who didn't have at least a few hours a week of childcare so she could focus on her biz uninterrupted. If you come up with that one, email me at info@livefullout.com and I'll send you a prize and I'll eat crow. Reason number 3, they're not willing to get uncomfortable. This business requires you to get comfortable being uncomfortable, at least in the beginning. Most of us have never done this type of business, so we can feel awkward and vulnerable. Too often, new business builders hide behind getting ready to get ready because it's safer. I've seen a slew of team members who never gave themselves the opportunity to fly because they wouldn't take off. They busy themselves with assembling binders of information, setting up a home office, color coding a filing system, and writing and rewriting their list of people. They keep practicing talking to people instead of actually talking to people, assuming they're supposed to sound like established leaders. This isn't the type of endeavor where you study and then apply what you've learned. It only works if you allow yourself to earn as you learn, relying on the system and the people who've come before you. We all have to muck our way through the first few months before we start to get the hang of it. Then, after a bit of success, followed by a hiccup or two, it's common to see business builders go into management mode with the team they have instead of continuing to put themselves out there and keep building. But your business won't continue to grow if you don't keep putting yourself out there over and over again. That means you're going to fall and make mistakes. but I know from experience you'll only grow really big if you're willing to make mistakes and then learn from them. As I tell our kids, if you're not making mistakes, you're not stretching yourself and you're not trying hard enough. Reason number 4, they're not hungry enough. This is the biggie, and it's epidemic in our business. I've had loads of business partners who have access to kick-ass training, not just from me, but from exceptional leaders around our team and the rest of the company. They're coachable and willing to learn how to do this. They're even consistent for a while, but then something happens, that thing called life. It gets in the way, the kids get sick, there's a big project at their day job, they're tired. There's a really good episode of Scandal on, so their business gets moved way down on their list of priorities. Life happens to all of us every single day. We're all working the same 24 hours. So why do some people stop working their business because life happens, while others of us keep working our businesses in spite of everything life throws at us? Because we're hungry. I mean, really hungry. Think I haven't had a carb in 6 months kind of hungry. I was starving, not literally, but I wasn't living the life I wanted for me or my husbands or our kids. Suddenly, that reality was sitting like a ton of bricks on my shoulders. I couldn't find a way out of the billable hour jail and the daily grind that was boring me into a numbed version of myself. I looked down the road 5 and 10 years into the future and was scared to death. I saw a future of getting by, but not getting ahead. Not giving our kids all the things I wanted for them, let alone all the things John and I had dreamed of and talked about when we were dancing before we had kids. So when this profession landed in my lap, I just knew this was our way out of the ho-hum life. I was willing to do whatever it took to build it. This had to work. Even when I was juggling our baby, our toddler, my PR clients, volunteering, doing work for John's Biz, helping my aging mom and trying to lose baby weight, I was juggling and elegantly at that. I was tired and scared and often disappointed and deflated, but there were little and big victories that gave me small glimpses of what could really be. So I kept going. Even before we were making big money, I saw this succeeding. I visualized the taste of freedom that would come with bigger commissions and residual income and the ability to stop working for others. I could taste the amazing freedom from my husband would experience when he could walk away from a clinical practice he no longer loved to pursue work that would feed his soul. I could see our family frolicking on family vacations at luxury resorts, and I could taste the sweetness of getting to live life on our terms. I wanted this so badly that nothing, and I mean nothing, was going to stop me. It was the same for my friend and business partner, Tracy Willard. Her family was hungry, literally. The Great Recession caused her husband's exciting new startup to go south, leaving her family to get by on her low-paying job teaching at the local university. With bills mounting and more months than money, Tracy had to go to the food bank to feed her girls. They were forced to sell their home in a short sale to avoid foreclosure, and they moved in with her in-laws. Completely broke, she had to get a loan from her parents to start a business. When she joined our team, she was so desperate to get up from rock bottom that she was 100% coachable, consistent, and kept putting one foot in front of the other no matter the obstacles. She was volunteering every spare minute so that her girls could participate in activities for free because they couldn't afford to pay for them. And teaching and trying to keep her family together. I mean that literally, not just to keep her family afloat, but struggling to keep her family physically together. Despite this, Tracy was profitable in her first full months. In less than 2 years, she went from food stamps to earning a free Lexus courtesy of our company. Her hunger fueled her commitment and consistency, and today Tracy and her beautiful family are living their dreams in a house by the beach in Southern California. Please understand, I'm not suggesting that you can't be successful in this business unless you're at your wit's end with your life or unable to feed your family. But you've got to figure out what it is that you really want, that you don't already have. Whatever it is, it's got to be important enough to get you to do something with commitment and consistency. It's got to be important enough to get you up, to make one more phone call, to reach out to one more person, and to loop back with one more prospect, even when you're bone-ass weary. Because if you want something bad enough in this life, we make it happen. It's just that simple. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, this is your husband. I'm sure he doesn't want me. So now we're clear on why people don't succeed. Maybe I've even described you up till now. But what if you dig deep and start to dream bigger so that your hunger propels you into action that you're not only changes life for you, but your family, but also inspires others to change their lives too. What if you could learn how to do the system better so that you were more comfortable talking to people about your business and your products? What if you could learn how to think like a CEO of a 6 or 7 figure business and make decisions about your time and your team through that filter? I can't make you coachable. I can't motivate you. That has to come from you. But in the following pages, I can coach you through all the other stuff. So let's put on our big girl panties, dig real deep, and let me help you grow. Something that you'll not only be proud of, but that could end up changing your life. If that sounds good, let's really get this party started.
Awesome. See, I love this book.
I do too.
There's so many, just truths, hard truths that she talks about, and I think that's what I enjoy most, and that's the thing that is just so real is that she doesn't sugarcoat it. It is, and I've said that for years. And then when I first started, a lot of the direct sellers, when I was at craft shows and things like that, I would hear them talking, and they're like, "Oh, the business is so easy. It's so easy. It's so easy. It's so easy." And I'm like, "It's not easy. It is not easy. It's simple. It's very simple. A plus B equals C. And it's that simple, but it's not easy. It's important to have that compelling purpose in your life that will make you have one more phone call. And maybe it's a person too that helps you with that. Like I can't say I've always, I come in and out of having a compelling purpose and vision, right? Because it's very cyclical, and that's important to know too. So maybe in the beginning, you have a really great vision, a really great why, purpose, whatever you want to call it, of where you want to go in the business. And then sometimes it's not quite as clear. It starts to get fuzzy and it's not pulling you like it normally is. That's completely normal. That doesn't mean you're not meant for this business. That doesn't mean that you can't be a success. It means that you just need to clarify it, right? You need a new prescription, right? So you go and you need a new prescription so that you can see that vision more clearly. And maybe it's shifted and it's changed a little bit, or maybe it's changed entirely. But that's what's so important. And also having somebody that is going to help you helps as well, right? And so Eric was that guy. I mean, I hate making phone calls to this day. It's literally my least favorite task to do. I don't even like talking on the phone. And so I don't like talking on the phone for pleasure. So I certainly don't want to dial and date, right? And so that was always my biggest frog every day that I had to just eat every day. And there were times that I was just like, I'd come strolling out of my office and I'm like, yeah, I made 10 phone calls and I had some great conversations. I think later will lead to a party, but I'm feeling really good about it. And he would look at his watch and he's like, well, it's only 20 after 8. You could make a couple. Is there anybody else you want to call? And I'm just like, seriously? I just ate that frog and I'm feeling like amazing because I did that. And he's just like, yeah, but you have, a good 15 more minutes of call time before it's, you shouldn't be calling people. And I was like, yeah, I guess I should go back. It's just like, and I go back and I make a couple more phone calls. But he was always the one, because I would try everything in my power to wiggle out of those tasks that I didn't want to do. Everything else was on fire when that time came. Like, oh, the baby's crying, I need to go. He's like, I can pick up a baby. He's like, and but it's so important to have that, so when my purpose wasn't carrying me because I was tired, because I just didn't want to, I didn't feel like it, right? He was always there to keep pushing me and just to go, come on, just 2 more, and it wasn't like, oh, you need to work for another hour a day or whatever. It was just like 2 more calls, and maybe that is somebody on this call, right, that you partner with. And so when you're done making your contacts, however you contact people, when you're done making your contacts, you report to that person. And then, that's when they could say, was there anybody else that you could call? Maybe 2 more calls, maybe 1 more call, right? But yeah, and just all the truths in this, that this business is going to test you in ways you've never imagined. It's tremendous highs and carnivorous lows. Carnivorous, is that cavernous? I'm rearranging the letters there. I know. I was like, carnivorous. That doesn't even make sense. Lori's like, Ellen.
I don't think that's even a word, but
I think it's a word. I think that's
carnivorous.
Sure, you eat meat.
Okay. We'll go with that.
Callahan rules, Lori. If we know what she means, it becomes a word.
Lori's like, all right,
Well,
it's Monday.
Well, it was funny though, because she was talking in here about, being a lawyer and doing depositions and stuff. And I just thought, when I used to do depositions, lawyers would make up words all the time. So yeah, if you say it, it's a word. Yeah.
That's funny.
The problem is figuring out how to spell it.
True. Very true. And it is, I mean, how many of us have experienced the highs and the lows of this business? Hello. Every one of us, if you have worked this business for any amount of time, every one of us on this call have experienced the highs and the lows of this business. And it's a matter of just keeping going and putting one foot in front of the other when you don't feel like it, when you're just like, why am I even doing this? And just keeping going. And when you're hurt, when you have your feelings hurt by a customer, by a team member, by yourself, right? You maybe, just whatever, or somebody that you think is supporting you and they're not, and it hurts your feelings, but keeping moving forward and not letting that stop you.
Can I add something?
Please. Yes.
Okay. So all of this information was great, but on page 22, I think when she said, when you're juggling and you're trying to do all kinds of things, that there's always little and big victories that gave you small glimpses of what this really could be. Just like you said, we have the highs and the lows, but what's hard to do in this business, I think, is to appreciate where you've come from and what you've accomplished up till now. And remember that when you've missed a goal or you haven't accomplished what you set out to do. So always remembering your small victories along the way will lead to the consistency in the big ones. So that really stuck out to me. I really like that.
Absolutely. And not comparing, and
Yeah.
having your own journey and realizing like, wow, look how far I've come. Not, hey, how come I'm not doing what that one's doing? And it's so important. It's so important. What you got, Lydia?
I started typing out carnivorous and it came up.
See,
So
thank you.
actually,
Thank you, Lydia.
it actually is a word.
She's got my back.
Since Jeff's not on, we've
I
got
know.
Google lady over here.
I know.
Thanks, Lydia.
Where's our Google master?
Where is
Yeah.
our Google Meister?
I know.
Well, I would imagine that if you were like, never mind, I'm thinking of something else. But if you were like eating your own species, you would feel very low. So
Very low. Yeah, you'd have to be pretty low. I agree. And another thing that she was talking about, and I can't find the pages exactly where it's on, but she kind of referenced like somebody who like comes into the business and they're all excited about doing things, and then life kind of happens, right? And it happens to all of us. And that's where it is so vitally important to know what your purpose is and what's and get clear about it, because that's what's going to pull you through that. Because like, for example, of course, I really related to the person she was talking about that came in and was at rock bottom, because that's like where I was. But and that was something that was so important, was that life was happening all over the place. When you're at rock bottom, that's like, things are falling on your head. Okay. Bills, lawsuits. Okay. I mean, it's that bad. And things are falling all over and around you. Deaths, all like illnesses, and it's just like, but you just have to just take a deep breath, close it out for an hour to get your work done and to do things that is going to get you towards whatever it is you're trying to get out from under. And it's so important. And sometimes the life that's happening, it's mental life. It's not actually a financial thing. It's not actually it's not actually like a physical thing that's happening to you, like going through a divorce or some big life change or anything like that. It's just mental life that is just pounding away at you, that you're trying to like pull yourself out from under. And that's okay too. But it's so important that if you are going to work this business, that you treat it like a business. If your goals are to have this, whatever it is, if it's a better life, if it's a better place, if it's more income, it's to be able to provide and feed your retirement nest egg, whatever it is, right? If it's those things, that's still there. It's still there, and sometimes it gets worse if you don't pay attention to it, and so it's so important to just literally sometimes put one foot in front of the other and just concentrate and live in that space. And so I used to call it putting my head down. And somebody one time said, "Oh, Ellen, I hate it when you say that because it makes it sound like like that somebody's," what did she say? It was like something to the effect about, it makes you sound like people aren't being nice to you, and that you're depressed and putting your head down. I was like, no, this is me working. I'm not letting any of this stuff get to me or bother me. I have to focus right here for a small amount of time. Then I can lift my head up, look around, make sure everybody's still alive, and get back down and go back to work. And it's just like, it's so important. So whatever that is for you, whatever the visualization is that you need to do around that, putting your blinders on, putting your head down, going in work mode, whatever you want to call it. But if just refer to it as something that is going to make you take action, right? Because this person, clearly, me putting my head down made her think I was depressed. I'm like, I'm not depressed. I just got to work, And so it's important to kind of like recognize that, because life happens to all of us. And in this, I mean, look at the last year of our lives. Life has happened to every single person on this call, to one extreme or the other, and in different ways. And did you put one foot in front of the other? Were you coachable during that time? Were you consistent in your business? And the good thing is if you weren't, now it's a new day. That's the best part about this business, is it's a new day every day that we get up and we make that decision to work, because we always have that choice. And so it's a new day. It's a new beginning. It doesn't have to be a new year for you to start putting one foot in front of the other. I mean, it is right now, but so if you want to get on that bandwagon, go right ahead, but it doesn't have to be, right? And so I'm so excited about this book, because I think sometimes we have to hear these things and either recognize, you've been there and you're doing well, right? And you're just like, okay, yay me, I am being consistent, I am doing these things. Or B, you look at it and you're like, you know what, I am there. And I needed this. I needed somebody to come in and call me out so that I can move forward. That was really funny. So Becky's got a background and she went to leave and it was like, whoop, like she was like this. That was funny. Because Lydia earlier, she leaned back or something. She disappeared for a minute when she was laughing. And then Becky just did the elevator right out of her modular mates. Oh my goodness. All right. So does anybody have anything else that they wanted to share about this chapter?
Melissa, yes.
Honestly, I think the favorite line that you said out of the book was, do you want a future of getting by or getting ahead? Because I spent all last year getting by. I came into the business as a hobby, and the business sort of happened to me, and I tried to latch on and go with it. But after a lot of reflection in December last year, I can't do that, because that's not going to sustain. So that was just that's going up in my office area for sure.
I love that, Melissa. That's wonderful. That's very insightful for you to be able to take that and just be like, you know what? That's what I was doing, and that's not what I want, Absolutely. I love it.
I have one more thing that I loved in this chapter. Talking about time management on page 19, we all spend time doing things. But in the first couple paragraphs of that, devoting most of your time to your own personal business sometimes as leaders, which a lot of you on this call are, is hard to do. You know, we put other things ahead of our own personal business. And I always tell my team, you know, your most of the most money that you're going to make is going to come from your own personal sales, because that's 25%. I mean, you want to do all those other things, but you know, first and foremost, it should be you first and then everyone else. But, you know, I'm going to like reevaluate my time management, because I think sometimes it gets away from me and I spend too much time not helping others, but it's too much time in other places where I've got to like reel it back to me. So I like that.
Absolutely. That spoke to me too. I was like, yeah, look at that. Take a
And
look
I
and
even-
just see what it is.
I even put a little sticky thing so I could come back and I wrote time management.
There you go. Look at you. So organized.
Yeah, I
really.
like how she broke that down specifically. And that was helpful.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. Anybody else have anything else? Every time my mouth is closed, my business is closed. Yeah, Becky. Disappearing Becky.
So one of the other things that, and this is quick, maybe.
Oh, look at
So she's back. That's fun.
Do another duck and leave, duck and leave, or duck and leave. We'll call it a duck and leave. There you go.
Oh my God, we're so entertained by the simplest thing.
You have to watch the recording, Becky, so you can see exactly what you look like. It's pretty funny.
We miss you, Becky.
I know. I'm so glad you're here. This call would have been very boring.
Not at all. Oh.
I miss you guys a lot. My grandkids just arrived, so it's chaos here.
I believe it. Was there something else somebody was getting ready to say? I felt like-
I think Jenny was. No, or no.
No, I'll do it later.
We won't be on later, so you can't share.
We'll be back.
All right. Well, awesome. Okay. So we're on chapter 2 next week. So this book is available on Amazon and it's also on Audible. So if you do Audible, and I imagine probably if you rent digital books from the library, it's probably there too. So if you want to, you can do that, but you're always welcome to come here because Jenny reads.
Story time with Jenny.
Story time with Jenny. Maybe that's what we need to call it. Maybe that will get more people. It's on
Oh,
Kindle. Yes. Thank you,
Yeah, it's
Ruth.
on Kindle.
Good.
I
Good,
just
good,
can't highlight on Audible. I like to highlight. It makes me feel useful.
I know.
Right?
And I
Makes
like
me
to,
feel like I'm-
yeah. And I like to like I read at night,
Mhm.
and so I don't want to look at my screen at night.
I
But
like
then
to
I
be
get-
able to go back and find it, and I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do that. Yeah.
That's why I started using these sticky things that stick out of the book.
Well, now we know what to buy you for Christmas. Just a giant thing of sticky notes so that you can.
Well,
put
look
them
I got this. Look at this. I got all of these.
So
Look,
fancy.
I'm fancy. Yeah.
Oh, Becky says you can highlight with Kindle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we can't see it, Becky. We can't see it.
in. Forget it, Becky.
Just forget it. Forget about it. All right. Well, awesome, everybody. Have an amazing Monday. And yeah, we'll see you later.
Hey, don't forget the leaders call tonight at 8:00 with Pam.
Yes,
then-
leaders
And then hot topic at 9:00. Yes.
Yes, yeah, hot
Oh,
topic
yeah,
at 9
right.
o'clock. And hot topic's only about 30 minutes, so it's nice and fast, but they just kind of cover some techie stuff. So that's fun. So awesome. All right, everybody, we'll see you later.
Leaders
Thanks,
calls 30
everybody.
minutes. Leaders calls 30 minutes. Hot topics 30 minutes. Buckeye Alabama game is probably 4 hours, so you'll still be okay because the only important part is the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter.
she's like a walking commercial today. Good Lord.
She's like, I am.
I'm so glad you're feeling better, Jenny.
I know, me too.
She's it's kind of like when you lose your voice and then you get your voice back and you're like, I've had so many things to say over the last 5 days and there was nobody
Oh
to
my
say them to.
God.
Like,
I need to go take a nap.
glad you're
Bye.
feeling better.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
everybody.